Why? One simple word that changes the way we see the world. When we were kids, we asked why about everything. But today, our curiosity has started to fade. Now the question is, why though?
Welcome to Why Though, the podcast about curiosity. I'm your host for this episode, Alayna Haigh, and if this is your first episode, welcome. If this is your second episode, welcome back. And if this is your third episode and you've watched all three, you must really love Why Though, and I love you. Today, I have three amazing, curious university students sitting with me.
Hi, my name is Omotayo, and I am in the Centennial journalism program.
Hi, my name is Keenan Linck, and I'm a fourth-year student in tech management at Ontario Tech University.
I'm Bogdanis. I'm a third-year film studies student at TMU.
So I want to go back to when we were the most curious, when we were that kid age where all we could really be was just curious. So when you were a kid, what were you obsessed with?
Okay, so when I was a kid, I was obsessed with reading fictional novels. So my aunt used to come to my mom's place every holiday, and then she used to bring this packs of fictional storybooks with pictures in them, and that's how I fell in love with reading. So I was always exploring fictional stories, just all those animal characters. I just love them so much, and I think that's probably one of the reasons that I went into journalism, because I saw that me being curious about stories, me being curious about how people are able to bring you into their imaginations through their writing. I realized I wanted to do that, and that kind of influenced where I am right now in the journalism program.
And when did you realize you wanted to be a journalist?
This was probably when I was 8 years old, because I just really loved writing. I loved reading. I was like, this is probably something I want to do for the rest of my life. So yeah.
Amazing. That's
Thank
really
you.
cool.
I think what I was most curious about was probably technology, as with my program. I did, when I was younger, a lot of reading on Wikipedia, just random articles about computers and the technologies behind that. I'm not sure how true this is, but my mom says that I learned how to read off of a computer, so maybe super curious for that. But yeah, probably technology.
I would say probably reading and writing as well was something that I did a lot when I was younger. And I think the writing side, I used to do creative writing way more, and then it kind of just carried over into film writing. But yeah, I would probably say the same as that.
Yeah, and kind of tying back into that, what did you want to be when you were younger? When you're 5 years old and you get asked in kindergarten or anything, and what did you guys want to be?
There was a whole bunch of different things that I was interested in, but nothing really specific. I'm kind of jealous of your age 7, everything's planned there.
I mean, it's different for everyone. And like you said, you liked technology and everything like that, so it's kind of a path towards to what you're studying now.
When I was little, when I was 5, I think I wanted to be a nurse, or that's what I would say. And then when I grew up, I realized that was a lot of science. I'm not good at science at all. So yeah.
With when we were a child and where we are now, do you think you're more or less curious?
Definitely more curious. So when I was a child, I was this very shy child. I didn't want to relate with people. I was just too scared to go outside of my comfort zone. But moving across countries and starting over in a new place, you definitely have to be curious. You have to want to talk to people and relate with people. If not, you're just going to be in this bubble, and you could get depressed, to be honest. So I think that was the first step for me to come outside of that shy zone, where it's I have to be more curious because I'm in a new space. And then also the fact that I'm in journalism. You have to be curious. You have to pay attention to your surroundings. You have to be willing to ask people questions. You have to put yourself out there and leave your comfort zone, to get stories, because most times it's usually in the ordinary interactions, or the everyday things that you find these really interesting stories. So I would say just the fact that I moved from country to country, and just the fact that I'm in journalism, I have definitely become more curious than I was when I was a child.
Yeah.
I'd say I've definitely gotten more curious as I've gotten older, and I think that's mostly because you have a lot more opportunities to be curious when you're older. like when you're in elementary school or when you're in high school, you're stuck with a lot of like, especially in elementary, you're stuck with preset courses that are, your math only covers so much. So there's a lot more room as an adult to like do things that you want and to kind of go down the path that you want to take for curiosity.
I feel like it's kind of the same, but it just evolves into different things, because I think like when you're younger, your curiosity is like, oh, how do I jump rope? Like that's like your curiosity. But then like when you're older, your curiosity is more like for me personally, it's evolved into just like curiosities about people.
Okay, I want to do a little curiosity test. With curiosity, obviously comes questions, so I want each of you guys to ask a question to one of you about kind of what we've talked about so far. Give it to the journalist.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I hope to be interning at like a production company and hopefully working on it. Out of grad, I want to like apply to the TIFF directors program, so hopefully getting like a first feature development thing there. Okay, so you're in journalism.
Yeah.
What's your favorite piece or favorite story that you've ever like been involved with?
Okay. So my favorite piece is not like something I wrote for school. It's something I wrote for the underground. So it's like a UTSC student magazine, and I just actually wrote it like last 2 weeks, and it's about the black spaces, like a black space for black students on campus. And it was really interesting because I got to like speak to students who I haven't spoken to before, and just get their experience on how the school helps them to preserve the black identity on campus. And it was just a really interesting piece, because I'm, as a black student myself, we're just interested to see that, oh, this is the sort of things you guys are doing to, and it was really good. Like, I think that's probably my favorite so far.
I'll bother the journalist again. Do you feel like after your experience in your program so far, do you think like you've become less curious, like based on like the realities of like what you have to do in journalism? Like, do you think that has kind of like stunted you?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question. I would say no, because I think just getting to talk to people is something that gives me joy. Getting that opportunity to talk to them, to get their perspectives, to get that, they're letting you into their own world basically, and then you have the responsibility to put that together. I don't know. I just see like I see it as a responsibility and as an obligation. There are people that I've talked about even from like our assignments, where it's like I have their contacts, and when I see them, I wave to them. When I see them, it's like we have a connection just because I spoke to you for an assignment, right? So I don't think I've gotten less curious. I don't think I will be less curious, actually. I think it's probably going to help me to be more curious, yeah.
With the digital space, obviously, now, and we've basically grown up with it our entire lives, do you think that the digital world is a hindrance to our curiosity or a gateway to it?
I think I have to say nice things about digital because it's my whole program. But I think the digital kind of realm gives people a lot more of an opportunity to learn a wider amount of things. Obviously, if you're in like an echo chamber on Instagram and like the algorithm's feeding you things that it thinks you like, you're kind of limited. But I think that in the physical world, like in actually interacting with things in real life, kind of gives you more of an opportunity to have like maybe a bit of like randomness, like not like preset, like for example, like I'll read things about like places in like downtown Toronto, and like you can read the history of a building, and like it's nice that I'm so close to Toronto. I can actually go downtown and see the building, see kind of things that aren't listed online, and maybe that'll send me down a different like rabbit hole. Maybe there's something you can only see in person on the building, and then it kind of same thing as that digital rabbit hole, but like it just kind of connects you more to the world. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think there's like pros and cons to the digital world. But I do think that the social media side of the digital world can be the negative side, because it's like you're just mindlessly scrolling. And I always find if I'm scrolling for too long, then my mind just feels so empty. And I don't feel like I can do much creative work. But if I'm like reading articles or something, then I'm like, oh, okay, I can like lock in on something more creative. So I think that like social media kills curiosity, but I don't think digital world as a whole does.
And then I have one final question for all of you guys. We asked this to all of our guests. So what is something that you guys have not done but have always been curious to do?
I would say travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely travel.
Anywhere in particular?
Honestly, anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere outside of Canada. I would take it. But definitely travel and just like get to meet new people, experience new cultures, try out new food, because that's basically what curiosity is about, like trying out new things, talking to new people, getting new experiences. So yeah.
Yeah, I want to say travel too. Mostly because like it exposes you to stuff that you're not used to, or even if it's traveling in an area, it's switching something up, like I feel like people spend a lot of time in their own cities, in their own houses, and like that stuff, and just being able to get out there, being able to talk to people, touch grass, put it lightly.
But I feel like it's something that I've started doing more recently that I want to do more of, is like cinematography, because I usually I was doing like writing and directing for 2 years, and then in third year, like at the start of third year, I like DP'd a documentary, and I really liked doing it, and I was kind of like, oh, this is a really interesting process. Like, I do not know anything about this. Like, I'll watch my friends do stuff, and they're saying all of these like different terms, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying, but I wish I did. So I've started taking like the cinematography courses at the school and stuff like that, so I'm curious to learn more about the technical side.
That's really cool. Okay, well, thank you all for being on Why Though. I appreciate it. And now I would like to ask my teammates who have worked either behind the scenes or behind the microphone the same question. So these are the two that have been behind the camera for the past 3 episodes.
Hi, I'm Victoria.
And I'm Eben.
So what is something that you have not done but have always been curious to do?
I know we were talking about travel earlier, and that's definitely something that's been of interest to me. I think what's been of interest to me recently has been more slow travel, so less vacationing and more maybe staying somewhere for a couple of weeks or months. I often feel that when I travel, there's so much information that I'm lacking when I leave, and I would kind of like the opportunity to maybe do like a further deep dive into the country or the city's history.
I really love that.
I guess for me, it would be learning more about my country's language. I wasn't born here, I'm an immigrant. I came here when I was really young, so I'm not completely aware of the intricacies of my country, and I feel like the gateway to learning more is the language, and unfortunately I'm not very fluent, and I don't really understand the language outside of when my mom's speaking. So I've been feeling a lot more passionate about learning more about it, trying to become more fluent and conversational with it.
So to recap our curiosity journey, because this is the 3rd and final episode, what is one takeaway for you from our Why Though podcast guests?
Speaking with Joan was really interesting for me. I did like a pre-interview with her, and we kind of spoke about, and she mentioned this in the episode as well, but she spoke about when you're a journalist kind of poking and prodding at your interviewee to kind of to ask why more than once, because often there's this surface level explanation, and often there are so many layers beneath that, and I think that's the one thing that's kind of stuck out to me throughout our series.
Similarly, I did a pre-interview with Lisa, the guest on the 2nd podcast episode, and we did a lot of talking about just AI and how it may be affecting curiosity, and generally I have related to that. So every time I felt like AI, I felt like I'm using less critical thinking in general, it has had a lot of its uses, but that is one thing and conversation that I really took from, and I'm just like, yeah, I heavily relate to what she's saying.
Yeah, and then what's one thing that we could have done differently?
I don't know. I think we were pretty perfect.
I agree.
Pretty
I agree.
curious.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that is a wrap for our final episode. If you haven't already, check out episode 1 and 2 of Why Though, and be sure to check out our Instagram. Remember to stay curious.